as we get ready to take in and expand on this call tonight, let us take a moment and take a deep breath. Inhale all that is divine and purposeful and great and abundant for your life. Exhale all of that which has no purpose, no benefit, and no expansion for your life. Again, take another deep breath. Inhale all that which is good, divine source, divine mind, divine spirit. Inhale all that is good, abundant, and prosperous for your life. Exhale and release. Let go of all of that negativity of what's not beneficial, what does not benefit you, or bring expansion, love, healing, or health into your life. I am a perfect idea in divine mind. And I'm always in my right place, doing my right work at the right time. I am an irresistible magnet for checks, bills, currency, for everything that belongs to me by divine right. The law of God is the law of increase, and I give thanks for increase in my life in perfect ways here and now. My world of wondrous now swings into manifestation, and I now enter into my promised land here and now. Great peace have I who love the law of non-resistance, and nothing shall be held from within me. Nothing shall be held from within. For as it is within, so shall it be without. I lift up the divine presence of God in me, and I give this presence my attention. I feel good about the God in me. I feel good about this divinity in me. This presence of God in me leads and guides me in ways of health, happiness, love, success, and prosperity. And so it is. Thank you for calling the Lessons of Wisdom call. My name is Issachar Bey. I am the Senior Director of the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center, and I want to thank you for tuning in on the call tonight. These calls are created to bring impact, to bring life-changing moments, moments of expansion, moments of increase. These calls are created to give us the tools, the precepts, the concepts, the ideas to which we can apply and begin to create our own reality. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And we understand the laws of the universe. We understand the laws of sowing and reaping. That whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. And so these calls were intended to give us those concepts, those precepts, those principles that we can use and apply to our lives. It is of great importance that we utilize these precepts and these concepts, and that we study these principles and that we meditate on them, because they are the things that we can use to elevate us, to take us to the higher heights, and take us to that level of consciousness where we can be able to create and manifest all of our heart's desires. And so I'm excited about you guys being on this call, and I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to be on this call tonight. As we enter into this new month of July, I feel like this is a month of expansion. And this is a great month to really expand and really to elevate. For I believe that this is the month that you will see things happening in strange ways. It will be a month where you will see elevation like never before. But once your mind expands, it can never go back into its original size, to its original form. And so I believe that this month of July, we're going to be into a month of great expansion and great elevation. And if you are connected into that, what happens now is that as you begin to expand and elevate, you'll begin to see many changes happen in your life. Many things will begin to take place and begin to move and begin to elevate. That's why it's so important that we are in the right place at the right time, doing the right things, in the right mindset, connected with the like-mindedness of people, because as we get ready to expand and elevate, we need to make sure that we are moving in the right direction. And so tonight, I wanted to talk from the subject, they can't never take it away from you. They can never take it away from you. We're going to talk about and unpack tonight, what is that it that we're talking about? Our scripture for tonight, our text for tonight comes from Matthew, the 6th chapter, 19 through 21. And it says here, lay not up yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust do corrupt. I'm reading out of King James. And where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust do corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. I like that. Do not lay yourselves treasures upon this earth. Treasure, the word treasure, when we look at treasures, we think about treasure chests. We think about a treasure that is a collection of valuables. It is a collection of something that's worth a lot. It's very monumental. It's something that holds great existential value. Bible says, lay not up your treasures upon earth, but to lay them in heaven. We know metaphysically that the word heaven means your mind, that you're going to lay these treasures in your mind in heaven, right? As it is in heaven, so shall it be in earth. Because that which is in heaven, or I would say in the mind, can never be taken from you. When you begin to understand that and begin to look at the concept of laying up your treasure, every good thing comes from the presence of God within us. And when you pay attention to that presence of God within you, that good presence, you begin to understand how you can allow goodness to unfold and to begin to flow in your life at all times. One of the most powerful things that you will ever come into contact with is the understanding of who you are. When you begin to come into an understanding of who you are, you will begin to look at things from a whole different new scope of life. The Bible says in Proverbs 4:23, it says this, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. The word heart metaphysically means the subconscious mind. Keep thy subconscious mind with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. When we look at this, when we start looking at our lives and begin to keep our minds, our subconscious minds, with all diligence, means that we need to be very cautious of our thought patterns, very cautious of how we are entertaining. What are we meditating on? What are we watching? What are we feeding our minds? What are we constantly focusing on, paying attention to, right? Keep your minds, your subconscious minds, with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Everything that you're going to experience in life, it starts first from the mind. It starts from the mind. They often say the imagination is called the scissors of the mind. That's what they call the imagination. It's a nickname they give it. They call it the subconscious mind. Is called the scissors. The imagination. The imagination is nicknamed the scissors of the mind, and they call it that because it is ever cutting the patterns that we see in our minds. It's cutting the pictures. It's doing all kind of alterations. Why? Because sooner or later, we will begin to meet our own creations in the outer world. What was created in our minds, we will begin to now meet it in the outer world. This treasure that you have, of great value that the world can't take it away. They used to sing a song in the church, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, and the world can't take it away from me. Why? Because the joy was something that was indwelling. It was something that came from within. And whatever you have within you can never be taken away. That's why I always say this. Never reach outside of yourself for anything that you need, because everything that you need is already within you. Everything that you need is already within you. But now we've got to get to a place now where we got to discover what exactly is it that we are going to value. What are our core values in life? What is it that we value? What is our treasure? Our treasure is to be able to understand the God within us, the divinity within us, right? And so when we begin to, when we look at that, we now see that the presence of God in us is the everlasting source. It is the source of all good. That God in us, Bible says the kingdom of heaven is within us, right? It's not without us. The God, some people are looking at God in the sky instead of looking at the God from within. You've got to be able to look at and begin to tap into the God from within and realize that it's within, not without. Out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. And when we look at this, we've got to look at this very diligently and with great care. Why? Because when we begin to look at this with great diligence, we now bring to it great importance. We value it now. We put a value on it. What are some of the things that you value? What is your it? Your it is your God in you as your everlasting source. Now, I like this concept because the concept that I like comes out of John, the 12th chapter and the 32nd verse. Jesus says, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. That's what it says in John 12:32. But look at this metaphysically. If any idea that you lift up in consciousness, any idea concept, precept, any thought, concept that you lift up in consciousness, you will draw the manifestation of it unto you. Any idea that you lift up in consciousness, you will draw the manifestation of it. That's good, bad, or indifferent. Look at anything that's ever transpired in your life and look at the idea that was lifted up. Because man can only receive that which he first gives himself. How do I begin to change my life? You have to learn how to go within. If you fail to go within, you will learn to go without. Lay not your treasures on earth. It's not about the house. It's not about the car. It's not about the jewelry, the money. You know, we hear the jokes. I heard a joke one time that said, you know, everybody's all into how much money they can make and all this money they're going to make. But when you are dead and gone, we've never seen any we never seen any money trucks following hearses at a funeral, which means that you can't take the money with you. You can't take the earthly possessions with you. But the Bible says, don't lay up your treasures, what you value, your most valuable things, the things that you hold great worth to. Don't hold them in the treasures on earth, where moth and rust do corrupt, and where thieves break in and steal, right? Because we understand and we know that there are people who are jealous or envy of you. And so there's people that want what you have. There's people that are envious. That's why we have to learn how to discern the spirit by the spirit. You got to be with like-minded people. We talk about this all the time. Even those of you that are joining us on the Millionaires of the Bible series every Sunday, we're in a place now where we're learning how to move in silence. We learn how Joshua was able to get get them together, and they begin to move in silence. Why? Because you don't need to tell everybody what you're doing. You don't need to make it a public spectacle of what you're trying to manifest or what it is that you have. But learn how to move in silence. Silence is golden. And I love that, because when you begin to look at what you treasure in life, what your treasure, what your values are, it changes your perception of life. What is it that you value? Everybody on this call tonight, what your core values are different. Core values can be happiness, abundance, honesty, love, creativity, determination, courage. These are things that we need to start holding great worth to and great value to. But these are things that once we have really connected to them and really bring them into our treasure, they can never be taken away from us. These are the values. The most important treasure we have is God in us. And when we awaken to the manifestation of it, when we awaken to the realization of the God in us and realize how valuable that treasure is, nobody can ever take that away from us. When we come to that understanding, nobody can take that away from us. I'm excited about that, because now I realize that nobody can stop me from being, doing, and having all that I want. Nobody can stop you. The only person that can stop you here tonight is you. You are the only person that can stop you. There's nobody that can stop you. We are not putting our treasure on the outside. Our treasure is not on the outside. It's not into our physical values. It's not into our money, our jewelry, because we also know that which is physical is temporary, and we understand and know that which is intangible is eternal in the heavens. I would want to tap more into the eternal aspect of it, There's nothing wrong with having physical things. There's nothing wrong with having those things, but we're not going to put those in our treasures and give them great worth because they can be replaced. We also know and understand that because they are in the physical realm, as the Bible says, they can also have rust and moth, and they can actually be taken from you, right? But that which you have on the intangible realm can never be taken away from you. It can never be stolen. It can never get moth or rust. It can never go through that because it's intangible. It's an intangible treasure. And it says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also, right? Your heart is your subconscious mind. The God in you, the divine mind, the source. That is your treasure. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. That's where your treasure is. Your it is your mind. We are all minds. When you meet somebody, you're meeting another mind. When you marry somebody, you're marrying another mind. You're not marrying a man or a woman, you're marrying a mind. When you do partnerships in business, you're not partnering with another person, you're partnering with another mind. Let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus. What kind of mind are you? I was reading a book the other day. This is a good book. It's called The Four Purposes of Life. It's by Dan Millman. And it was a really good read. It talks about finding meaning and direction in a world that's constantly changing. It's a really good book for those that really need inspiration, but can kind of guide you into putting together the concepts and really the coordination and layout plan of how to find your purpose, the four purposes of life. And he deals with what I loved about the book. When we talk about value, he breaks it down into four segments. So he talks about learning life's lessons. He talks about discovering the path, discovering your gifts and your talents. And then he talks about how to, so basically he's doing this. You learn the path, you walk the path, and then you become the path, right? That's pretty much exemplifies what life is. We talked about the four seasons. Those of you can go back in the archives and listen to that call when I went over the four seasons of life, right? But we learn we first learn the path, right? We learn what it is. We learn about ourselves. We learn what life is about. We learn who we are. We get an understanding of who we are. But then we take those tools, those precepts, those concepts, those things that we learned, those lessons, and now we put them into practice because we now walk the path. We utilize what we've been taught, and now we put it at work. We apply it now and begin to take that journey. And as we begin to take that journey, we elevate now from walking the journey to becoming the actual path. And I think that we all need to look at our lives in that concept of where are we from learning the path, walking the path, to becoming the path. It's very important that we find out tonight, what is it that you treasure? What is your treasure? What are your core values in life? What is the most valuable thing in life to you? Because when you find out or come to the defining moment of what is your most valuable thing in life. What is the thing that you value the most? We have to define now and make sure that what we're valuing is not in the physical realm. I got to make sure that that what I'm valuing is not anything that can be taken away from me, where moth and rust can corrupt it, but that it's intangible. I got to be able to move from the inside out, not from the outside in. We live in a world now where everything is outside. Instagram, Facebook, everybody posting cars and money and their private jets, and they're doing all of this stuff in the physical realm because this is what we are fascinated by. This is what we are putting our attention on. This is what we're focused on. But these things are only temporary. What we want is something that can't be taken away on the physical realm. For where my treasure is, my heart is also. Where my treasure is, my subconscious mind is also. And as Philippians 4:23 says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. The issues that you will deal with, the good, bad, the ugly, the indifferent, all the issues will come out of your heart, your subconscious mind. We are walking magnets. We can only magnetize to us who we are. Who we are is predicated upon what we think. It's predicated upon how we feel. Everybody has a divine design. Let me say that again. Everybody on this call has a divine design. What that means is that we've been designed divinely, differently. Everybody's different. Nobody's a copy. Everybody's an original. We were made wonderfully and marvelously. We were wonderfully and marvelously made, right? Everybody has a divine design. When you find out what your design is, your divine design, you begin to walk in it. You begin to live in it. You begin to consciously embrace it and become one with it. That's why we always need to be able to connect with Source. We've always got to be able to come back to the place where we can connect with the God in us, because that's where our treasure is. That's where what we hold sacred, the most powerful thing we have, it can never be taken away from us. It is the most powerful thing that we have. It is what they call the secret to playing the game of life. When you read the book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, by Florence Shin, which I recommend everybody get a copy of it, The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Shin, she goes into talking about the key to playing the game of life is how to be able to manipulate the law of cause. Because if I can create the law of cause, I can automatically guarantee, I can automatically tell you what the effects are going to be. Because for every cause, there's going to be an effect. Keep the heart with all diligence is the cause. For out of it are the issues of life is the effect. What do you treasure? What is in your God? What is in your heavenly treasure? Because when you really look at it, what are some of the things? I believe courage should be in there, determination. I believe that you should have abundance, prosperity, health. There's so many different elements that I believe should be in your treasure. The laws of creativity, to be able to tap into the ability to create, the ability to manifest, the ability to bring into existence the very things that we want. Everybody on this call wants to be able to create their own reality, to live the life that they've always wanted to. And I think the most hardest thing for me to ever do to anybody is to convince them that they can. Because once you come to the realization that you can do it and that you were born to do it, that it was your divine design to be, to do, and to have all that you want, things start happening, doors start opening, thoughts start happening. You start seeing things that you never saw before. You start hearing things that you never heard before. Things start coming into your world based on, guess what? How diligent you were in keeping the subconscious mind. How much did you value it? How much how much worth did you put on it? How much did you really hold weight to it? Because you know that your source is everything. The divine source is everything. When you discover the source of all good within your mind and being, all needful things shall be added unto you. You shall not want, and you will never be deprived of any good when you come into that realization. I think every day we should go into the theaters of our mind and begin to visualize and see ourselves being, doing, and having what it is that we want. Because it's not enough just to, because I believe, this is what I believe, that you only get out of life what you see. You see what you get. What you see is what you get. What you see in your mind's eye, not in the physical eye, but in your mind's eye. What you see is what you get. But guess what? It goes deeper than that, because it's not just about what you see, it's also about what you feel. What you feel is what you get. Being able to feel the value, feel that the feeling is what brings the magnetic powers into play, right? Being able to feel and to get what I feel. Whatever you feel is what you get. But then it comes even deeper than that, because it's also about what you say. And we talked about the power of the words this past Sunday, how powerful our word is. What is your treasure? Your treasure is your God within you, is the God within you. Whatever idea you hold up in consciousness, you will draw the manifestation of it. That can never be taken away from you. At any given time, you can look in your life and see a situation or something that's not going the way you think it should go. All you have to do is come back into yourself and says, what idea am I holding up? Because whatever idea I hold up, I draw the manifestation of it. Jesus says, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. Whatever idea we hold up, we will draw all manifestations unto us. It changes what we value. It's nothing wrong with having nice things. We are supposed to have nice things. Jesus said, I've come that you have life and that you have it more abundantly. He said, I wish that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So, of course, he wants us to be good and live a good life, but you don't want to put so much focus and attention or value on the physical manifestations, because those things are temporary. They can easily be replaced. But it's something about that intangible, the intangible power, the intangible things. They are eternal. They can never be taken away from us. And they are, if I had to use an analogy, they are the strings that we ought to be able to pull to continue the show we call life. Being able to guard your subconscious mind with all diligence, to put value on it, to put great worth on it. Because what it does is it puts you in the right place at the right time. to connect with the right people. And allows you to not have to worry about a lot of the issues that happen in the world, because even though I'm in the world, we're not of the world. We can live in the world, but we're not of the world. We've created our own world. We created our own reality. We are the masters of our own universe. The heavenly treasure, the divine God in me, operates as me. When you come into an awareness that there's no separation between you and God. I was telling somebody the other day how when you look at life and you look at people who are trying to find themselves, you find that a lot of times when people are trying to come into a level of self-discovery, a lot of times they go into religion. A lot of times they go into some form of religion, or they join an organization because they're trying to find themselves. They're trying to get an understanding of who they are. But when you find yourself, you find God. And when you find God, you find yourself. There is no separation, for he says, I and the Father are one. You can't run away from God because you'll be running away from yourself. So we used to hear people say all the time, "Oh, he's running from God. He doesn't want to answer to the call. He's running from himself." Because when he comes into a great knowledge of who he is, he'll realize that all this time that I thought I was running from God, I was really running from myself. Because there's no separation of me and God, because God is within me as and operating as me. And when you come to that realization, something in your life, it's like your mind just explodes open. And it's like you're elevated to a high level of consciousness where you're no longer looking at life from the level that you were. It's almost like if you were living on the second floor in a building, and then you came into the realization that God in you operates as you. And you say, wait a minute, all this time, I never realized that God was in me, and I was in him, and that we were one. And all this time, I've been looking for God outside of myself. I've been looking I've been looking for God in the sky. I've been looking for God over here and God over there. But all this time, I never realized that the very thing I was looking for was already within me. And all of a sudden, your consciousness is elevated to the rooftop now. So now you see life from the rooftop view as opposed to the second floor. You begin to see things from a different perspective. I've got to expand my vision. I've got to expand my level of consciousness. Everybody listening to this call tonight, every year we should be expanding. That means as we get ready to enter in 2022, we should be much more wiser than in 2022 than we were in 2021. We should be at a higher level of consciousness than we were in 2021. We should be always elevating. We should always be expanding. Knowledge, wisdom. And as you grow inwardly, as you grow spiritually, you will see that your outer world should always match what's going on the inside. Anybody who's wealthy and rich should also be wealthy and rich in consciousness. Because we are nothing but walking mirrors, as within, so without. Your treasure is very important. Your heavenly treasure is set up so that no one can take it from you. The knowledge of God and what God in you and who and what you are in God, when you have the knowledge, nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that away from you. that divine self-awareness is magical. It's powerful. When you begin to understand how your life will unfold, once you come into a level of not laying your treasures, your worth on earth, on physical things, not your body. It's not about how you look. It's not about, we living in a society now where it's about how you look. It's about, for the women, they're getting plastic surgery, they're getting enhancements. I even see now that there are men who are bald-headed. They now have these man wigs where they can put on hair now, and they're doing all of this stuff, right? Because of what they value or what they want to be seen for in the physical realm. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but if you are looking for that approval, that acceptance of yourself, it has to come from within first. It has to. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we had a conversation because this person, they said they felt that they were overweight, and they wanted to get the gastro bypass surgery. And they said, once I get this surgery, everything will be fine. I'll be at a better place. My life will be totally different. And I said to him before he got the surgery, I said, this surgery, they said that once you get it, you'll lose an extreme amount of weight. You'll probably be half the size you are now, which is great, ideal. I think it's going to be wonderful for you. But guess what? Nothing is going to change. And he said, what are you talking about? I mean, man, I'll be a couple of sizes different. Man, I'll be able to shop at the mall. I'll be able to do this and do that. My life will be so much better. I said, I don't want to disappoint you, but that surgery is not going to do anything to change your life. It will change the physical ramifications of your body. It will change your physical appearance, but it won't change your life because the change that you need to make has to come from within. I personally don't think you should get the surgery because I think that the change that you're looking for is more of a surgical intangible surgery, not a physical surgery, which means that you need to come within and do internal surgery and begin to, as we call the imagination, use the scissors of your mind to begin to start cutting some things out. But that's just my opinion. So he went and he got the surgery. He came out. Everything was well. Happy that he made it out of the surgery okay, and he lost a lot of the weight. But guess what? Nothing changed. And guess what happened? He came into a great depression because he thought by getting this surgery, by losing this weight, that he was going to be in a better place because society had told him that if he lose weight, he'll look better, life will be better, all of those things. But it's not what the world told him, but what was he telling himself? Because he was more focused on the negative feelings he felt, the way that he felt about himself, and he thought that by cutting or having the surgery from the outside, it would change how he felt or saw himself inwardly. But it absolutely was false because he needed to make the change within. And if he would have made the change from within, he wouldn't need to get no surgery because he would have been able to get the same result but reversed. Because if he went in and changed how he felt about himself, how he looked at himself, how he talked to himself, what would have happened is he would have changed some things. Eventually he would have changed his diet. Eventually he would have changed what he was eating. He would have been probably beginning to work out and be on some fitness regimens. He would have been able to get the same results. But guess what? It would have been totally different now because he now was in control of the change, and the change was made inwardly. The intangible, the treasure was not laid on the outside, but it was laid in heaven, the subconscious mind. And because he made that, if he would have made that change inwardly, and so he made the change outwardly, and nothing changed in his life. He still ate the same things, He still worked at the same job. He still made the same money. Nothing changed except for his physical appearance. Nothing changed. And he became into a Great Depression. He began to drink a lot, and he had to eventually now, after making the outward change, realize that, oh man, I thought that by doing that surgery and getting those things that my life would begin to change. It never changed. And so now he had to move inwardly and now make the change that he needed to make. And so I say that to say this to you all, that we have to be very careful of the changes and the things that we want in life. You never want to make the major changes outside. You must first make them inside. Because if you make the changes inside, that's where the changes inside will begin to manifest and begin to make those changes outside that you want. And that's where those changes will begin to stay, be permanent, be lifelong, longevity. In life, we want to go for longevity. We want to operate out of wisdom. We want to operate out of love and guidance, but we want to operate out of longevity. Why? Nobody in here wants to get hooked into a get-rich scheme, right? You don't want to get-rich scheme, because the get-rich scheme, fast come, fast go, easy come, easy go, right? But no, show me how to build wealth. Show me how to invest. Show me what to do. Show me how to increase my level of consciousness from inwardly. Show me and allow me to operate the laws of prosperity inwardly. Give me the wisdom inwardly, because once I get that and I put that in my treasure, it can never be taken away from me. We hear about rich and successful people, they go bankrupt. We heard about it years and years ago when the great Donald Trump, right? The great, as I call him, everybody calls him the great Donald Trump. He was into the real estate business, was doing all these real estate, buying all these buildings, went bankrupt, right? Had to file bankruptcy. And before you know it, snap your fingers, he's right back on top again, a billionaire again. Why? His wealth, his billions was in consciousness. It had nothing to do with the physical ramifications, because it was taken away from him. He had to file bankruptcy. But guess what? Not too many days hence after that, he was back on top again, back where he was before, because it was done by consciousness. You never want to make the major changes outside. You always want to make the changes inside. The inward changes are the changes that are long-lasting. They are the changes that get you the best effects, not the outside change. And, the brother that I spoke about with the surgery, we are still in contact. I still coach with him. He's still one of my coaching clients, and I still am guiding him and holding his hand of accountability so that he can begin to change his concept of himself, that he can now see the God in him. Not the God outside of him, but the God in him, and realize that everything that he wants in his physical world must first begin on the inside. And when we do that, when we are able to make that shift and start working from the inside out, it changes the very dynamics of everything that we do. It changes everything. It changes how we see life. It changes how we operate in life. People say all the time, how is life treating you? I would ask the question, how are you treating life? Doesn't matter how life is treating you. It matters how you are treating life. The thing that I love about life that's so awesome is that when you come to the realization that you can be, do, and have all that you want, it's an amazing concept to grasp and take in when you are able to break the walls of limitations in your mind, that there's nothing you can't accomplish, that there's nothing you can't do, there's nothing you can't have, we live in a society now where everything is mostly situated on a physical realm, on what seen, heard, feel, definitely connected to the five senses. But we understand and know how we operate from inwardly, that we operate from the divine mind, that we are part of the divine design for each one of our lives. When you find out what your gifts and talents are in this life, and you find out what your purpose is, and you find out what your destiny is, and you begin to walk in that, your destiny and your purpose is your journey. It is your divine design that you've been given. When you walking that, that's your life's journey. Anybody on this call who's ever accomplished anything in your life, when you got the accomplishment or the award on the accomplishment, whether it's publishing a book, whether it's getting a house, a car, whatever it was that your accomplishment was, when you got that very thing, it never really gave you the oomph that you thought it would. But what mattered the most was the journey to get there. Because now you have a new divine wisdom that you now have accumulated based on the journey that you took to go there, based on that journey that you took to get into there, to accumulate whatever it is that you are manifesting. It's the journey to get there. Life is a journey. It's a journey. When we understand how to move and operate in divine wisdom, we're not looking for a destination. We're not looking to get to the plateau or get to the top, because when you get to the top, there's nowhere else to go. We are always evolving. We will never get to a place where we become stagnant. We want to always be growing. We want to always be expanding. Consciousness is our only reality. As long as we can hold up an idea of goodness, an idea of prosperity, an idea of abundance, an idea of happiness, if I hold up that idea of happiness, guess what? The only thing I can do is manifest the idea which I have held up. If I lift up that idea, I will draw all manifestations unto me. What idea are you holding up? What is your it? They could never take your it away from you. They could never take the divine design away from you. They could never take the God in you from you. For it is the most powerful thing that has ever been given to man, is the conscious idea, the conscious mind, the conscious revelation that God is in you. Once you come into that revelation, they can never take it away from you. God in me as me is my source of all. It has to start from the inside out. It starts from the inside out. Last week we talked about the defining and declaring your destiny. And we talked about the will of life. But the will of life is an indwelling chart. It's something that we have to look at from the spiritual realm, the intangible realm. And as we are able to shift and be diligent with it on how we operate and how we control and organize it, what happens is it begins to now give us what we have created on the wheel of life. It begins to give us that output picture in our physical reality. Everything happens from the inside. I even when we was going through COVID and people were saying how they were getting sick and we were losing a lot of people, it seemed like, for me, a lot of people in New York City, where I was born and raised in Brooklyn, were passing away. It seems like every other day or every 2 days I was getting a phone call, this person passed away, this person passed away. And we began to talk about some of the things that was going on during then. And the number one thing that we came up with is, what are you putting inside yourself during the pandemic? What were some of the things were you taking? So we talked about taking liquid zinc. We talked about taking liquid silver. We talked about the vitamin D. These are the things that we were putting inside of us. Why? Because the inside is what counts. It's always an inside job. And when we begin to understand how important that is, how important the inside manifestation is, I got to be able to take care of it from the inside first. What are you feeding yourself? What are you putting into yourself? Because what's being put in or what's going on inside will always be reciprocated on the outside. And I think that's an awesome thing. I would love to do. I think one Wednesday I should do a call about divine health, and I'll tell you guys about my journey with Dr. Sebi and meeting him, and just about the different things about health, divine health, and what different herbs that we can take that are healthy for us, that are different things. That are herbs like for people who have high blood pressure, for people who have blood circulation issues, and there's so many different things that you can take that are natural, that are very good for your body, that can enhance you and increase you, and really move into this next divine level of health. Why? Because if you want health outwardly, you want to have a physical healthy body, you have to first have health in consciousness. You got to be consciously healthy. And so what happens is, once you begin to embrace that healthy consciousness, things start appearing in your life. Health stuff that'll connect you to the right place, to the right things. You start getting connected. Once you become the very thing that you want to manifest, the universe looks at it as, okay, this person is already it. I'm already abundant. I'm already happy. I'm already prosperous. I'm already walking in that because I've already have become that. But now that I have become that inwardly, the universe says, wait a minute, this person is walking in consciousness of prosperity. Now they have to make that happen in my physical reality. It's impossible that you are able to have a cause without an effect. I've already manifested the cause. My cause is my heavenly treasure. It can never be taken away from me. And as long as you know that the cause can never be taken away from you, you will always be able to have the effect. But the effect is what will happen in the physical reality. The effect is what will take place in your physical reality, whether it's health, wealth, prosperity. What we think is, as we talked about last week, about money, about people that don't have money always want to look like they have money, but the people that have money, you would never know they have money because they don't look like they have money. The people that have money, they're walking around consciously because they have it. They're consciously prosperous. They're consciously already walking in abundance, walking as millionaires and billionaires consciously. They don't have to show it. They already have it. But it seems like those of us that don't have it, want to prove or want to look like we have something that we don't have. But here we go again. We're trying to create something on the physical realm that has not been created on the inner realm, on the intangible realm. And that leads us nowhere. So we have to be careful of what treasures we are laying up on earth as opposed to what treasures we are laying in heaven. Tonight, in your call notes, write down what your it is, your divine design, the God within you. But also write down and make sure that you know what treasures are you laying in heaven. What treasures are you laying up in heaven? And make sure that you're not laying up treasures on earth, that you're not attached to anything physically, or that you're putting wealth, that you're putting worth, and you're putting great value to the physical manifestations or the physical ramifications of things, where it should only be that which is laid up in heaven, the heaven of your mind. As it is in heaven, so shall it be on earth. We've got to make sure that we are operating under that principle, that we are not allowing ourselves to be attached to the physical realm. Mind over matter, not matter over mind. Mind will always be able to be over matter. Why? Because we are masterminds. We are masters over our minds. How do you become a master of your mind? By being diligent. That's how you become a mastermind. You become a mastermind. The Bible says, keep thy subconscious mind with all diligence, for out of it all the issues of life. That's how you become a mastermind, by being able to keep your subconscious mind with all diligence. Because we understand and know that out of our subconscious mind are all the issues of our life. That is the cause. And from that cause, the effects will be the issues that we deal with in life. I want to thank you guys for being on this call tonight. As I said earlier, we're in a season of expansion. We're in a season of elevation. I want you to begin to write down this week some things that you want to manifest. We're in the month of July. We're getting ready to, we're moving along greatly in our Millionaires of the Bible series. We will be finishing the book of Joshua on, I believe, August the 1st, that Sunday. And starting August the 8th, we will be getting into the new book, which is going to be The Millionaire Nazareth, which is the yellow book with the gold star. So we're moving along greatly. Every week we're going to a higher level of consciousness. We're learning new principles, new precepts, new concepts. But this month of July is the month of expansion. It's the month of elevation. Whatever it is that you want to expand in your life, what you want to manifest, I believe that there's a lot of us that are going to be elevated in consciousness, and you will see things begin to elevate in your life. Begin to write these things down. Why? Writing is the first level of manifestation. Writing takes things from the intangible realm and it makes it official. It makes it concrete. On that second page of the call-out sheet, begin to write down what you want to manifest this week, or what you want to manifest this month of July. What is it that you want to manifest? What do you need to expand in your life? You need financial expansion. You want your health to be expanded. Whatever it is that you want to expand, begin to write it down, focus on it, begin to work with it intangibly. Begin to lay up your treasures in heaven. And as you lay your treasures up in heaven, you'll begin to see things unfold on earth like never before. Work with the law. Use it. It works if you work it. But you got to work with it. You got to work with it. You got to constantly, day by day, work on it and constantly begin to focus and begin to utilize and meditate. Every day we should be going into the theater of our mind and begin to visualize ourselves being, doing, and having all that we want, all that we are, all that we are manifesting. I've got to have it in consciousness first, because consciousness is my only reality. As we move into our month of expansion and our month of elevation, it's impossible for us to expand in consciousness and elevate in consciousness and our physical world don't change. So I'm telling you, on this call tonight, we're going to see some major changes happening as we begin to expand in consciousness. We are masterminds, masters over our minds. Why? Because we are able to keep the subconscious mind with all diligence. And because we're able to do that in the law of cause, we can now begin to know and operate out of the law of effect. That will be the issues of life. That's where they come from. As we move and continue to grow as masterminds, because that's how we become masters of our universe. That's how we're able to create our own universe, by first becoming a mastermind. When you become a master over your mind, mastermind, you can master anything in this world. Every Wednesday, as we move into our circulation, we are working with the circulation seed of $11.11, 1111. 11 is a master number. It is the number of networking. It is the number of bringing the conscious mind, the subconscious mind together. It is the indwelling. It is bringing the two together. It is a number that allows us to bring the masculine as well as the feminine, bringing them together as one. Even though it's a duality number, it's still a number of oneness. It is the masculine, the feminine brought together as one, and it is also the net worth, which equals our network. It is the number that brings our subconscious mind with the conscious. And that master number of 11, it is the number that allows us to operate in divine source. It allows us to tap into our divine being, right? Because it gives us the ability to move and to greatly be operating by our intuition. The number 11 is a very intuitive number. It allows us to operate in spirit. When you move in divine spirit, it'll put you in the right place at the right time. It's almost like a GPS when you're able to really connect with it. And so that's why every Wednesday we're working with the $11.11. Once we release something out of our hands, it will never come back to us void, but it will come back to us 100-fold return. Why? Because we're circulating it. We're not letting it go. We're not spending it, because in the word spend is the word end. But what we're doing is we're releasing it in circulation because it's coming back to us. But everybody on this call tonight, everything we do is in circulation. Your attention, your focus, what you're paying attention to, what you're reading, what you're watching on TV, everything you do is circulation, right? But I told you guys last week that we need to start operating in investment. Everything you do needs to be an investment. Because when you start looking at it from an investment perspective, what you're saying is everything I'm doing is for the betterment of me. I'm doing this to enhance where I'm going. I'm doing this to put myself in a better position. I'm doing this because it's going to benefit me for where I am and also where I'm going consciously. Investment. I'm not going to waste my time doing that because that has no benefit to me. But I don't mind putting my time, energy, and effort here or putting it over there because it's going to benefit me. There's a benefit there for me. So tonight I want to give you guys the opportunity to sow the mastermind seed and receive that hundredfold return. The mastermind seed tonight is $11.11. We have 4 ways that you can sow your seed. The first way is going to be Cash App, where we have $TOESC, Temple of Enlightenment Spiritual Center. And then we also have PayPal, which is going to be Issachar Bey at gmail.com. Also, it's going to be Venmo, which is going to be the @ Issachar-Bey. And then we also have Zelle, which is going to be issacharbey at gmail.com. Those of you that have the call notes, you can always look on your call notes as well. We also have the 4 ways that you can give there. And also on the link where you get the call notes, there is also it's also there as well where you can also give. We want you guys to continue to share, like, and subscribe to our YouTube page. We are running. This week we started running ads to get these calls out so other people can begin to get on the calls and begin to expand. So we definitely appreciate all your contributions. We can see that the call views are going up, and so we're excited about where we're heading to. We're excited about where we're going. As I said, this month of July is a month of expansion. It is the month of elevation. And sometimes, I'll say this, sometimes expansion and elevation will cause things in your life to be shifted. Sometimes people will exit out. Sometimes situations or circumstances will come to an end. And so when that happens, you have to be mindful that you're going through an expansion and elevation. Everybody can't go where you're going. Everybody can't be where you're going to be at. So they have to be able to exit out of your world because you're shifting. You're moving into a new plateau, a new dimension. So let's just keep that in mind. It's not that your world is over. It's not that everything is going wrong. But no, you're elevating. You're expanding. And when that happens, what happens is as you elevate and expand in consciousness, that is the cause. The effects of it will happen in your physical reality. Everything that happens to you inwardly must be made manifest outwardly as well. As it is in heaven, so shall it be on earth. So I don't want any of you to be of great disappointment or feel like you're being defeated or feel like your whole world is falling apart when certain people begin to exit out of your life or when certain doors are going to be closed. You feel like, oh my God, what's going on? No. You're expanding and you're being able to be elevated. So that door had to close because there's another door that's going to be open. And you'll look back and say, I was glad that the door closed. I was glad that that person exited out of my life because look where I am now. You only attract in life what you are. So anytime doors close, people exit out of your life, that means that that means that you are changing who you are, and you're no longer manifesting those situations or those people in your life anymore. And because you have expanded to a high level of consciousness, the people who are not on that level, who are not connected to who you are, they have to exit out. So I want to thank all of you for being on this call tonight. Join us on Sunday, 9 a.m. I had a talk with Reverend Israel last night, and we had a great talk. He really encouraged me, wants me to keep going with the calls, told me he's been listening in. He's definitely been giving me tips on how to build a YouTube channel. He's excited about the teachings. I told him we're waiting for him to come back. Can't wait for him to come back. I tried to get him to come back on one of my calls, so that's still up in the air to try to get him to come in and let's do a call together. So hopefully we can do that. but he's doing wonderful. He's doing well. I told him that, we're sending him much love and light, and we are waiting for his return. And those of you, he did speak about those of you who are part of the 800 or 888. You guys have your time with him still. But we are excited about what's coming. We're excited about our futures because we believe that the days ahead of us are far more greater than the days behind us. I want to thank all of you for calling in and listening to this call tonight. But before we leave, I want to say this one thing. Your destiny is not a matter of chance, but it's a matter of choice. Thank you and good night.